How to fill out I-864 form. First, let me tell you what this form is and why you need it. Form I-864 is a legally binding contract between you, the sponsor, and the U.S. government. By signing, you're promising to financially support the intending immigrant so they won't become a public charge. This lets USCIS or consular officers count your income assets for the immigrant's case. If you sign, you must 1. Keep the immigrant at equal or greater than 125% of the federal poverty guidelines, or 100% if you're the petitioning sponsor on active U.S. military duty and sponsoring your spouse, child, and 2. Report address changes within 30 days on Form 1-865. There are real enforcement consequences, and the obligations last until specific events, citizenship, 40 quarters of work, etc. Before we start, let's see, what documents do you need? Here is a mini checklist. You need government-issued proof of your status, U.S. passport, naturalization cert, LPR card, etc. Most recent federal tax return or transcript, W-2 or 1099 AS, optional but helpful. If you weren't required to file, be ready to prove why. Recent pay stubs, and, if using household income, completed forms I-864 from the household members who are contributing income. If income is below the guideline, documents showing assets, bank statements, stock statements, home equity math. Okay, now let's see how to fill the form. Part 1. Basis for filing. What it asks. Why you're the sponsor. Choose one box only. Options include I am the petitioner, most common, joint sponsor, first, second, substitute sponsor if original petitioner died, or certain employment-based situations, 5% owner, etc. Attach proof of your status. How to fill. Tick one box that matches your role. If you're a joint sponsor, select first, second correctly. If you're a 5% owner, provide the business name, relationship. Tip: use black ink. Type as the form requests. Part 2. Information about you, sponsor. What it asks: your legal name, mailing address, physical address, if different, country of domicile, DOB, SSN required, immigration status, citizen, national, LPR, A number, USCIS account, if any, military active duty, petitioners only. How to fill. Enter your full legal name, no nicknames. Mailing address goes in item 2. If your physical address is different, answer no to the same address question and complete item 4. Country of domicile is where you primarily live and intend to keep your residence. Provide DOB, SSN, and select your status, citizen, national, LPR. Check the active duty box only if you, the petitioning sponsor, are currently on active duty relevant to the 100% guideline rule. Part 3. Information about the principal immigrant. What it asks: the immigrant's full legal name, mailing address, country of citizenship, DOB, A number, USCIS account, if any, and daytime phone. How to fill. Copy from the immigrant's passport USCIS notices, include A number only if they have one. Part 4. Information about the immigrants you are sponsoring. What it asks. Confirm you are sponsoring the principal immigrant now. List family members immigrating with the principal or within 6 months. List any qualifying family members immigrating more than 6 months later used by a second joint sponsor or when derivatives follow later. How to fill. For each family member, you need to fill full name, DOB, A number, USCIS account, if any, and relationship to the principal immigrant spouse, child. If you run out of space, use Part 11. Part 5. Sponsor's household size. What it asks: a precise head count for guideline comparison. How to fill, don't double count. Count everyone you're sponsoring on this affidavit principle, plus any derivatives listed here or in Part 11. Add yourself, already 1. Add spouse, enter 1 unless already counted above. Add dependent children not already counted above. Add other dependents you claim on taxes. Add anyone you previously sponsored on an I-864 or I-864EZ who is still your obligation. Add household members at your address, combining income with you, I-864 filers. Total items 1 to 7 for household size. Here is what you can do. A common mistake: counting the same person twice, such as your spouse, as both spouse and immigrant. The form says don't count any member more than once. Now, Part 6. Sponsors employment and income. What it asks: your work status and current individual annual income, plus any household member's income you're using. They usually file I-864. Then your current annual household income total. Finally, tax return info for up to 3 years. So, how to fill? Indicate employed, self-employed, retired, unemployed, and list employer or your occupation. Enter your current individual annual income, projected 12-month income. If using household income, list each person's name, relationship, income, and file I-864 for each contributor except limited cases. For example, the intending immigrant with no dependents may not need I-864. See instructions. Then total my current annual household income. Tax returns. Answer whether you filed for the last 3 years. You must attach only the most recent year's return. Transcript, you may add the prior to. When you fill the table, write the tax years and total income or AGI. If the amount was 0, write 0. If not required to file, write NA and attach proof of non-filing low income. Guideline check. USCIS compares your current annual household income to the I-864P poverty guideline for your household size. Part 7. Use of assets to supplement income if needed. What it asks: if income is below the required level, you can add assets yours, qualifying household members via I-864, and sometimes the principal immigrants. So how to fill? List cash, savings, checking, real estate NET value, assessed value minus mortgage, and stocks, bonds, CDs. Add them for your asset total. If using household members' assets, total those from their I-864. You may add principal immigrants' assets if they're being sponsored by this very affidavit. Rule of thumb: the total assets must equal 5x, the income shortfall, or 3x if the intending immigrant is your spouse, child of a U.S. citizen, or 1 times for certain orphans adopted in the U.S. If your income already exceeds the guideline, skip Part 7. Part 8. Sponsor's contract. Contact info, certification, and signature. What it says, in plain language: you're entering a contract with the U.S. government by filing I-864 for the immigrant's visa, green card case. Your obligations include supporting the immigrant at 125% or 100% of the poverty guideline and filing Form I-865 within 30 days of any address change. Consequences. If an agency gives the immigrant certain means-tested public benefits, they can seek reimbursement from you and sue if unpaid. You could owe collection costs, attorney fees. Civil fines can apply if you don't file I-865 after an address change. When it ends, citizenship, 40 SSA quarters, permanent departure after LPR loss, readjustment with a new I-864, or death. Divorce doesn't end it. How to fill. Check the interpreter preparer statements if used. Give your daytime, mobile, email, read the certifications, then sign and date. Unsigned forms are rejected. Part 9. Interpreter, if any. What it asks: interpreter's name, contact, and a certification that they read and interpreted every question and answer and the sponsor understood. How to fill. Interpreter completes and signs with date. Part 10. Preparer, if any. What it asks: if someone other than you prepared the form, their info plus certification that it reflects only info you provided, and signature, date. How to fill. Preparer completes and signs. Part 11. Additional information. What it asks: extra space for explanations such as more family members, clarifications. How to fill. Put your name, a number at top, reference page, part, item numbers, sign, date, any extra sheets. Finally, here are some common mistakes to avoid. If you forget to sign the form, USCIS won't even touch it. They'll send it right back. If you leave out proof of your status, your whole application looks incomplete. If you count the same person twice in your household size, your income math won't add up. If you don't attach your latest tax return or transcript, they'll consider it missing. And if you skip Form I-864 Ampere when using household income assets, USCIS won't accept it. So double check before you send it off, and you'll save yourself weeks or months of delays. That's all. Like and subscribe if you find this video helpful.